Hi, greetings, fellow tributes. Well, our look at the Hunger Games series now continues on with the third book in the series, Mockingjay. Following catching fire, Candace Everdeen, her mother, her sister Primrose Everdeen, mentor Hamish Abernathy, and her friends Finnick O'Dare and Gail Hawthorne, along with the survivors from District 12, adjust to life underground in District 13, headquarters of the rebellion in Pan Am. Candace reluctantly agrees to act as the Mockingjay, the symbol of the rebellion for rebel propaganda, on the condition that District 13 President Al McCoy grants immunity to all surviving Hunger Games tributes, including Candace's friend Peter Mlark, Epinic Lover, and Anna Cresta. Coyne, however, insists on flipping for Candace's other demand, the right to personally execute Pan Am President Coriolanus Snow. Filming the destruction that the Capitol's bombers inflicted on District Hospital, Candace is sent to the war zone, and while Hamish orders her to retreat as soon as the raid begins, she stays behind and fights before giving a speech that is broadcast in all 12 districts. The Capitol tortures Peeta to demoralize Katniss. A rescue team instructs Peeta along with the other captured victors, but discover that he has been brainwashed to fear and despise Katniss. He attempts to kill her, and is restrained under heavy guard while medics seek a cure. Finnick and Annie marry in a propaganda effort. Candace and Gail are sent to persuade District 2 to join the rebellion. Gail's controversial strategy results in a decisive victory in District 2, enabling a final assault against the Capitol itself. Candace is assigned to a squad and some of the film crew to shoot propaganda. President Coyne also sends Peeta, so dangerous and unpredictable. Candace suspects Coyne wants her dead for her lack of support and growing influence. While filming a supposedly safe Capitol neighborhood, the team's commander Boggs is fatally wounded. Before dying, he gives Candace the team's command. She decides to infiltrate the Capitol and kill Snow, telling her team that this was Coyne's secret plan. She later reveals the lie, but the team sticks with her. In the ensuing urban warfare, many of Candace's comrades, including Finnick, are killed. As last of her squad reaches Snow's mansion, a hoverplane bearing the Capitol seal drops bombs among a group of children being used as human shields. Rebel medics, including Prim, rush in to help the injured children, and the remaining bombs detonate. Prim is killed, and Candace sustains severe burns. As she recuperates, Katniss, deeply saddened over her sister's death, learns the rebels had taken over the Capitol and Snow is to be publicly executed. She confronts Snow, who claims that Coyne orchestrated the bombing to turn Snow's remaining supporters against him, reminding Candace of their promise to never lie to each other and how District 13 benefited from the revolution. Horrified, Candace realizes Gail had earlier proposed a similar tactic. She becomes convinced that, rather than establish a republic governed by representatives from each district, Coyne intends to take Snow's place and maintain the status quo. Coyne hosts a referendum for the remaining victors to decide whether to host another Hunger Games for the Capitol children. Although 3, including Peeta, are against the plan, Candace, Hamish, and 2 others outvote them. Set to execute Snow, Candace instead shoots Coyne and immediately attempts suicide, but Peeta stops her, and she is arrested in the ensuing riot. Snow is later found dead, and Commander Paler of District 8 takes over as president. Candace is acquitted of murder by reason of insanity and sent home to District 12, while her mother leaves for District 4 and Gail leaves for District 2. Other District 12's natives later return, including Peeta, who has recovered his memories and is left for Katniss. She embraces him, recognizing her need for his hope and strength. Together, they write a book to preserve the memory of those who died. Though still suffering flashbacks and screaming nightmares, they manage to comfort each other. 20 years later, Candace and Peeta are married and have 2 children. Under Paler's administration, the Hunger Games are abolished with the arenas replaced by memorials. Candace is beyond joyful with her new life and her family, but still carries mental and emotional scars, and dreads to hear children learn about their parents' involvement in the war and the games. When she feels distress, Candace plays a comforting, repetitive game, reminding herself of every good thing she has ever seen someone do. The series ends with Candace's reflection that there are much worse games to play. So let's take a look at the inspiration and development for this novel. Collins has said that the main inspiration for the Hunger Games series came from the classical account of Theseus and the Minotaur. In Greek mythology, as a punishment for the killing of King Minos' son, Androgeus, Athens was forced to sacrifice 7 youths and 7 maids to Crete, who were then put in the labyrinth and killed by the Minotaur. After a while, Theseus, the son of the Athenian king, decided to put an end to the Minotaur and Minos' terror, so he volunteered to join the third group of victims, ultimately killing the Minotaur and leading his companions out of the monster's labyrinth. Collins has said that there are also many parallels between the Roman Empire and the fictional nation of Panem. She describes the Hunger Games as, quote, an updated version of the Roman gladiator games, which entails a ruthless government forcing people to fight to the death as popular entertainment. Collins also explains that the name Panem came from the Latin phrase panem et circenses, which means bread and circuses, and refers to the strategy used by Roman emperors to appease the masses by providing them with food and entertainment. As with the previous books in the trilogy, Mockingjay contains 27 chapters, with 9 chapters in each of the 3 parts. This structure, which Collins had previously used in her series The Underland Chronicles, came from Collins' playwriting background. This 3-act structure is also apparent in the trilogy as a whole. Collins stated that she knew from the beginning that she was going to write a trilogy. The cover and title information was revealed by Scholastic on February 11, 2010. The cover continues the previous book's theme on the symbol of peace. The novel's title comes from hybrid birds of the same name that feature in the novel's storyline. As Publishers Weekly has stated, quote, the hybrid birds that are an important symbol of hope and rebellion throughout the books. Collins likens Katniss to a Mockingjay because both should never have existed. And now let's take a look at the themes of this book. Reviewers have noted many themes in the previous books that are also explored in Mockingjay. A review from the Baltimore Sun noted that, quote, the themes of the series, including physical hardships, loyalty in extreme circumstances, and traversing morally ambiguous terrain, are continued at an even larger scale. In the book, Katniss must deal with betrayal and violence against people. At the same time, while she was symbolically touching thousands of lives, she must also lead those people into war. Finally, Katniss realizes she cannot even choose President Coin, leader of District 13. In an interview with Collins, it was noted that the series, quote, tackles issues like severe poverty, starvation, oppression, and the effects of war. Collins replied that this inspiration was from her father, who, when going to war in Vietnam, made sure that his children understood the consequences and effects of war. He balanced it with the Christian Science Monitor and noted that it was the most brutal of the trilogy and that Collins doesn't take war lightly. Her characters debate the morality involved in tactics used to try to overthrow the rotting, immoral government, and they pay high costs for those tactics. Katie Royfey of the New York Times wrote that, quote, it is the perfect teenage story with its exquisitely refined rage against the cruel and arbitrary power of the adult world. In a review for USA Today, Bob Mischenheimer, sorry if I mispronounced that, pointed out the novel contained optimism, quote, hope emerges from despair. Even in a dystopian future, there is a better future. Mischenheimer also noted a central question of real and not real, which is asked throughout the novel by PETA. Susan Carpenter of the Los Angeles Times also pointed this out, writing, quote, Mockingjay takes readers into new territories and even more brutal and confusing world, one where it's unclear what sides the characters are on, when where presumed loyalties are repeatedly stood on their head. And now finally, let's take a look at the publication history. Mockingjay was first released in the US and Canada on August 24, 2010. The UK, New Zealand, and Australia received the book 1 day later on August 25, 2010. The audiobook was released simultaneously on August 24, 2010 by Scholastic Audio. The book had a 1.2 million copy first printing that was bumped up from 750,000. In its first week of release, the book had sold over 450,000 copies. Following this, Scholastic printed an initial 400,000 copies, bringing the initial print run up to 1.6 million. Scholastic Trade President Ellie Berger said the sales have exceeded all expectations. The book has also been released in ebook format and topped sales in the week ending with August 29, 2010, beating out The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which had held top spot since April. The other Hunger Games books have also been top 10, with the first book at 5th and the second book taking 8th. As of March 2012, the book has sold over 9 million copies. Ooh, that's a lot. So overall, as well, the final book in the main trilogy, this one's actually pretty dang good, and I like how it wraps up the story from the first 2 books, so yeah. So overall, I give Mockingjay 5 Mockingjays out of 5. Anyway, tomorrow as we take a look at a prequel / spin-off book, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. So, until then, remember everyone, may the odds be ever in your favor.